Hey Pokemon fans, Tamashii here. For a long time, trainer classes have fascinated me. I've always wondered if I were a trainer, which one I would be, and where my in-game teams would fall into if we were assigned classes. By default, player characters have the trainer class Pokemon Trainer, but I feel like there's a way to make it more interesting. So today, I'm going to help you discover which trainer class you might fit into by going over the various trainer classes and the traits that define them. Remember, this is really only a fun little role-playing guide to help you decide which trainer class you identify as. It doesn't have any impact on the games mechanically. And if you don't fit into any of the ones defined here, but really like a particular class, there's no reason you can't choose a class on your own, or even make one up. Trainer classes are really only held together by trends anyway. There aren't any real rules. The point here is to have fun and express ourselves. With character customization, if you want, you can even dress your part. So, let's take a journey of self-discovery and figure out which class you might belong to. Though many trainer classes in the games are very rigidly gender exclusive and are limited to specific ages or body types, in the spirit of inclusion and creativity, I'm going to extend all classes to everyone, unless noted otherwise. Since there are a lot of classes, this will be at least a two-parter. Maybe you can figure out yours by just this first batch. Number 1. Beauty. This title applies to any trainer who is attractive and not afraid to flaunt it. Beauties tend to use a wide variety of Pokemon, but mostly they choose Pokemon based on their appearance, with cute Pokemon like Oddish, Wigglytuff, and Poliwag, or pretty Pokemon like Seadra, Roselia, and Lopunny. As far as types go, they tend to lean towards normal, grass, bug, and water, but can be occasionally found with Psychic, Flying, Electric, Ground, Fire, or even Poison or Dark. They also tend to pay out highly, or give away rare items when beaten, indicating higher economic status. So if you're pretty and you like pretty Pokemon, you might just be a beauty. Number 2. Biker. Are you currently part of a motorcycle gang or just enjoy riding? Then you might be a biker. Characterized by wild hairstyles and lots of leather, bikers tend to hang out in gangs in areas like Cycling Road, the Battle Subway, or just normal routes. Your typical biker will specialize in poison and fire type Pokemon, but they've also been known to favor dark and ghost types, or just about any non-legendary Pokemon with high base stats. A variation of this trainer class is the Cue-Ball, or Roughneck, which are usually bald bikers that specialize in fighting and dark-type Pokemon. They also have a tendency to use one-hit KO moves. When bikers and Roughnecks join forces for a double battle, they're called hooligans. Motorcyclists, another variant of this class, specialize in rotation and triple battles. Number 3. Birdkeeper. Trainers that specialize in flying-type Pokemon are known as Birdkeepers. If you've got an affinity for feathers, this might just be you. In Kalos, every now and then you'll find a variation of this trainer class, a Sky Trainer, at the top of a cliff or another high location. Sky Trainers will raise not only flying types, but anything that can participate in a sky battle, which extends their pickup Pokemon to those with the Levitate ability as well. As the name suggests, Sky Trainers participate only in sky battles, so if that's your favorite battle style, this class might be for you. Number 4. Black Belt or Battle Girl, Crush Girl. If you enjoy martial arts, then you might just be a Black Belt or a Battle Girl, also known as a Crush Girl. These trainers are often found training in the mountains or in dojos, using fighting-type Pokemon, occasionally training fire, steel, or rock types as well. When these trainers get together in duos, they're known as Crushkin. Occasionally, they'll also pair up with a psychic trainer in a duo known as Brains and Brawn. So if you've got an affinity for fighting types and learning to fight yourself, you could be one of these. If you like fighting types but not the actual fighting, then you might identify as a variant class, the Expert. Experts tend towards fighting types, but will use a wider variety in combination with them. Number 5. Evil Team Member. Ever wake up one day and decide to take over the world? Do you obsess over legendary Pokemon? Do you ever feel your head filled with aspirations of world domination, wiping out the human race, or just general terrorism? Or are you simply misguided and working for an organization that you're not quite sure what it does? Then you could be a member, or even a leader, of an evil team. The type of Pokemon used vary widely by which organization the trainer belongs to, with Team Rocket's leader specializing in ground types, and his grunt specializing in poison and dark, with some normal ground and psychic thrown in, which seems to be the standard for all evil teams. Team Magma and Aqua, of course, both add fire and water to this list of types respectively. Team Galactic adds bug to this list. Team Plasma occasionally adds fighting or steel, and Team Flare uses primarily fire, and occasionally adds electric or fighting. Which team you belong to is really up to which ideology you align with, and what rank you are is determined by how committed to your cause you are. If you can be found wherever there's trouble, you could just be a member of an evil team. If you're just generally evil and work alone, then you might be a burglar, rogue, spy, thug, wanderer, shady guy, or suspicious lady instead. Just choose the title that you prefer and that best suits your modus operandi. Number 6. Bug Catcher. Are you buggy for bug types? Then you might be a bug catcher. This is one of my personal favorite trainer classes because the concept of bug catching was part of the core idea for Pokemon when it was first conceived. As a nod to this, there's even a bug catcher named Tajiri after the creator of Pokemon in the Johto Battle Tower. Bug catchers of course tend to raise exclusively bug-type Pokemon, and are often found wherever the bugs are, which is typically in forests. If you favor stronger bugs and you want something a bit more advanced, you might be a variation of this class known as a bug maniac. They're typically a little older and use fully evolved or rare bug types. Number 7. Champion. This is simply a title for anyone who has defeated the Elite Four. So since many people have, if you are one of those people, you can choose Champion as your trainer class. Champions in the games typically have high-level Pokemon, anywhere from 50 to 70, and they are one of the few trainer classes that consistently have full teams of 6. Fun fact, the first Champion, Blue, if the player chooses either starter other than Bulbasaur, will have an Executor in his party that only knows 3 moves: Hypnosis, Barrage, and Stomp. Another fun fact is that the first Dragon-type champion, Lance, is actually more of a Flying-type champion, as that is the only type every member of his team has in common. Only 3 of his Pokemon are Dragon-type, and they're all Dragonite. Number 8. Channeler. These are typically depicted as Shinto priestesses, but the technical definition of Channeler is any person who channels an energy or spirit from a source believed to be outside the person's body or conscious mind, so this trainer class can apply to a person of either gender who believes they have once channeled. These trainers specialize in Ghost-type Pokemon, and tend to hang out in places where dead Pokemon are laid to rest. Mediums, a variation of this trainer class, are similar, except they also occasionally use Psychic-type Pokemon. So if you believe you communicate with ghosts, you may be one of these 2 classes. Number 9. Cool Trainer, Ace Trainer. Do you like to battle competitively? Do you battle trainers from all over the world, use a balanced and diverse party, and well thought out and practiced strategies? Can you predict, counter, stall, or sweep? Then you might just be a cool trainer, also known as an Ace Trainer. This trainer class represents the average competitive Pokemon battler. When they appear in-game, they have fully evolved Pokemon with a wide variety of types and species, and often have their AI set to a higher level than your average NPC. They can be found in places like Victory Road, indicating that they're off to challenge the league themselves. When a pair of cool trainers or ace trainers get together, they're called a cool couple, a double team, or an ace duo. Whether you're a Smogonite or a Smogon hater, if you battle competitively, you're all cool trainers. If you're a little bit on the older side, have been playing for a long time, or like to use legendary Pokemon, you could be a variation of this class, the Veteran. If you're just now learning the metagame and starting to get into competitive play, then you could be another variation of this trainer class, the Rising Star. Number 10. Gym Leader. It's not entirely clear how one qualifies to become a gym leader, other than giving out a league badge upon being defeated, and usually specializing in training a single type of Pokemon. Gym leaders must be prepared for challengers of all skill levels, by training both low and high level Pokemon of their type, and having them on standby for when they're needed. Gym leaders also often have a signature move, which they give out to their challengers upon losing. So if you like to raise a single type of Pokemon and enjoy taking on challengers of all sorts of skill levels, you might just be a gym leader. If you only like to raise high-level Pokemon of a single type, you could be an Elite Four member instead. Or if you had no specific type, but still enjoy taking on challengers and teaching your signature move, you could be a pre-gym leader, one that doesn't give out a badge, but enjoys teaching young trainers your ways and giving them a challenge to overcome. Number 11. Engineer. This trainer class is called Engineer, and Electrician in Japan, but in Stadium their equivalent was known as Mr. Fix, so in general they seem to be handymen. This class's Pokemon of choice is electric types, but if you're in any sort of profession in general where you wear a hard hat and a tool belt, you might prefer to be identified by a variation of this class, the Worker, which use rock, fighting, steel, and ground type Pokemon. Number 12. Fisherman. If your hobby is landing the big one, you might be a fisherman. If your favorite Pokemon can all be caught with a rod, you might be a fisherman. And if you've ever raised an entire team of just Magikarp, you might be a fisherman. These trainers live off the sea and enjoy angling. And though there is a male-centric sound to the name, female equivalents are still called fishermen, so it's not as exclusive as it might sound. Number 13. Gambler. Is your favorite location in every Pokemon game the casino? Do you enjoy slots, cards, roulette, or just betting and winning money in general? Do you feel lucky? You might be a gambler. Also known as gamers, these trainers use a wide variety of Pokemon, but tend to use strategies that rely on luck rather than skill. For example, using one-hit KO moves, or moves like Explosion. Though as a class they don't tend to use one type over another, individual gamblers do tend to train Pokemon of only one type. For example, one gambler using a team of all Water-type Pokemon, and another using a team of all Fire-type Pokemon, sort of like stacking their odds and relying on only a single type to net them the victory. An interesting fact is that in localized versions of Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, this trainer class was renamed PI, or Private Investigator, because the clothes they wore resembled that of detectives. Don't be fooled though, they're still rambling, gambling dudes. Number 14. Gentleman or Socialite. The upper crest of the Pokemon world, these trainer classes are known for their socio-economic status above all else. These elite members of society are snappy dressers that tend to use Pokemon based on pets and award large sums of money to those who can defeat them. In Generation 6, these classes were renamed Monsieur and Madame to fit with the French setting. Younger trainers who fall into this social standing could be considered members of the variant classes Rich Boy and Lady, with the only major difference being that the younger duo are more prone to using expensive items in battle. If you like to flaunt your wealth, whether it be in real life or just in the game, this might be for you. Number 15. Hiker or Hiking Girl. If you love the outdoors, exploring and hiking, especially in and around mountains, then you might be a hiker or hiking girl. These trainers tend to raise Pokemon that can only be found in caves, which are usually fighting, ground, or rock-type Pokemon, with exceptions like Whismur and Zubat. Number 16. Junior Trainer. This trainer class branches off into two directions, the camper class and the picnicker class, but this is mostly due to a localization issue. The original name of these classes are Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, which had to be changed for legal reasons upon release in the rest of the world. In actuality, these names all refer to the same class of scouts. So if you're a member of either of these groups, you might just be a junior trainer. Junior trainers use a wide variety of Pokemon, at varying evolutionary stages, levels, and rarity. The only real common thread that holds these classes together is the love of camping, making fires, tying knots, and selling cookies. Number 17. Juggler or Street Performer. Jugglers are oddballs alright. Characterized by using round spherical Pokemon, unpredictable strategies and moves, and constantly switching Pokemon in and out during battle, these trainers like to keep their opponents not only at their mercy, but also entertained. Occasionally, they'll also use Psychic-type Pokemon that have nothing to do with juggling or their strategy just to confuse you. A variation of this class, the Clown, only uses Mr. Mime and Mime Jr., and another variant, the Harlequin, uses mostly Bug-type Pokemon, but they like to switch it up and keep you on your toes. They've also been known to enjoy using Trick Room. The commonality here is that these trainers just like to entertain and confuse their opponents, so if this is a strategy you find appealing, you might fit in well with one of these classes. Number 18. Lass or Youngster. Known in Japan as Miniskirt and Shorts Boy, these classes are defined by their choice of apparel rather than their choice of Pokemon. They tend to be of a relatively young age and enjoy flaunting their favorite styles. Typical Lass and Youngster teams consist of mostly common and cute Pokemon, like Pidgey, Nidoran, Zigzagoon, and Rattata. Variants of these trainer classes include Bandana Guy or Gal, who always wears a bandana, Lady in Suit or Man in Suit, who always wear business suits, and Glasses Man or Woman, who always wears sunglasses. Number 19. Pokemaniac. Do you have one Pokemon that you really love to the point where you cosplay and collect merch of that Pokemon? This is essentially this entire trainer class. Typically, Pokemaniacs will be on the nerdier side, opting to wear trench coats or full-out cosplay. They tend to use Pokemon found only in the Monster Egg group, such as Lyron, Lickitung, or Charmander. A variant of this trainer class, the Pokefan, likes a different group of Pokemon. Pokefans will only raise Pokemon from the Fairy Egg group and tend to collect Pokemon plushes and merchandise. Another variant, the Pokekid, is another cosplaying fan group that only uses single Pokemon that they adore, like a team of all Eevees and Eeveelutions for example. Another variant is the Cute Maniac, which are fanatics of cute Pokemon, and they tend to participate in Little Cup battles. If you're a fan of a specific Pokemon or group of Pokemon, and collect merchandise of that Pokemon or possibly even cosplay as them, you could be one of these trainer classes. Which class you identify as is really personal preference, as you could easily swap in a different egg group or Pokemon. It's the fandom that defines the class, not the Pokemon itself. Number 20. Psychic. In spite of what the name implies, Psychics don't just use Psychic Pokemon. They also use Ghost types too. These trainers can move things with their minds and bend spoons with psychokinesis. So if you've ever believed yourself to have psychic powers, this class is for you. If you just like Psychic and Ghost types and have an interest in the occult but no powers, then you could be a variant of this trainer class, the Hex Maniac, instead. Just remember, it's your fault I'm not a Pokemon master. That's all we have time for this week, but I'll be back next week with some more trainer classes. So if you didn't find a class to identify with in this bunch, maybe the next one will hold the answer for you. Before we say goodbye though, I have an exciting announcement. This year I'll be attending PAX Prime in Seattle, Washington, from August 29th through September 1st. If you're going, keep an eye out for me. I'll be wandering around. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to click here to subscribe for more Pokemon videos. See ya!